And I would like to thank for organizing this wonderful event. I would like to thank the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography, Gaine Shaban, Levon Abrahamian, and the team that invested a lot of effort in organizing this event. I would like to inform all of you that there is an internet scientific journal, online journal, Orbis et Orbis, Microhistory and Semiotics of the City. We have it in English, Russian, and German. You can publish your articles on this website. This is for your information. Our team is also ready to make this platform available to everyone interested. I will move now to the topic proper. So Aivazovsky's habitus in the context of imperial memories. And the next question, how Aivazovsky uses Feodosia as the context. I will try to present the following topic that Aivazovsky was not only a very talented marinist, but also a good diplomat, a person with the rights over the city. This is Lucien Lefebvre's idea, and there is a chronological division, but Aivazovsky, by his own example, shows how he lived and created in that city, also helped to build the city, using also his right to the city and artistic freedom. Pierre Boudet, Lefebvre, and others' research was used in order to present directly and indirectly this idea, and they were used in this presentation. Aivazovsky is a person on the edge of the Armenian Russian cultures, on the borderline. Of course, we have to take into account his biography. He had an opportunity to study in St. Petersburg, which was the center of Russian arts, and after graduation, he returned to his home, Feodosia. If you compare Feodosia with St. Petersburg, this comparison between the periphery and the center becomes even more vivid. During the presentation, we will see that. And I agree with the presentation of Caroline Humphrey yesterday. In her conclusion, she said that the center and the periphery are very relative. They're outdated, outmoded, and there are many revisions. And center could easily become a periphery, and periphery can easily become a center. So Aivazovsky is one of the bearers of the imperial memory of Russia. Aivazovsky moved even forward, and Rupert Murdoch's the media magnate principle was first started by Aivazovsky. He was thinking globally and acting locally. It is manifested in his supra and transnational creations, artworks. And he was also very faithful to his local context, which is part of acting locally while thinking globally. How Aivazovsky became one of the embodiments of the imperial culture. He was the marinist of the Joint Staff of the Marine Corps of Russia, and we read about this in different documents. When how he became a marinist and at the same time remained an Armenian artist. There are of course sources which support this idea. You can read them yourself, but in the war of 1853-56, Aivazovsky, through different paintings, actually presented this war in a very artistic way, and he was one of those who preserved that memory. This uh, British descent in Subashi, for example, and we are not going to look at the specific features of this because this is a work for actually art critics, and I will leave it to them. Navarin battle. If we look at that painting, we have also another painting in the same line. If we look at those, we will probably realize that Aivazovsky during his lifetime is able to transfer his symbolic capital into financial capital. He was creating artworks, paintings, and the political leadership was highly valuing his artwork, giving him unending opportunities, endless opportunities for creating new artworks. Aivazovsky is also taking part in one of the expeditions, and Tsar is paying him 1,000 rubles in order to take care of the family expenses while being away. And there is also another interesting notion. The Tsarist or the Imperial Center was using the talent of Aivazovsky to some extent, of course, to represent the periphery of Russian Empire, Kerch, Feodosia, Odessa, Sevastopol, and Aivazovsky living in his birthplace, in his cradle, is creating paintings of those cities, and those cities become well known through his paintings, and to some extent he creates a brand of those cities and other important functions added to the artwork of Aivazovsky. Aivazovsky being an embodiment of the uh, culture, cultural policy, he becomes also a photographer. Many of his paintings could be seen in the different galleries, also in the Kronstadt and in the joint staff of the Russian Marine Force. Just an example how he implements the policy of memory. He tries to collect money for a house museum of one of the generals. He organizes an academy exhibition and he uses the money for that purposes. When he was invited to a dinner in Tbilisi, he was able to fundraise about 3,000 rubles among the servicemen and then turns this into a symbolic capital. So, so why it was important to have a monument of General Kotlarovsky in Feodosia? He was born there, but besides that, Kotlarovsky played a key role in the South Caucasus context during Russian-Persian War and signing the Gulistan peace treaty. So he was trying to implement the imperial policy through this. And he is able also to have the painting of the general in a frame showing his St. George's cross and the banner as symbols of his heroism. General Kotlarovsky's statue was recently erected in Feodosia and is considered to be a symbol of Russian officers. It was done in 2020. Kotlarovsky's sword was stolen in 2021. There was a big noise. They found it and returned to its place. And this narrative reminded me, I'm sorry that I was not able to take a picture. There is a statue of Aivazovsky. It is in the round park. They cut the upper and lower part of Aivazovsky's brush, but we didn't make a big noise, which we should have done as the Russians did in order to restore that, as they did in case of Kotlarovsky's sword. Uh, Accompanied by 50 ship, Admiral Nakhimov comes to city of Feodosia in order to greet and congratulate, wish happy birthday to Aivazovsky on his 50th anniversary, showing how what importance Aivazovsky had for Feodosia and for uh, the empire. So this is how he embodies the city of Feodosia. Someone says that Aivazovsky's coming to Feodosia is a paradigmatic shift in the development of the city. And one of the important developments was the opening of the archaeological museum on the Mithridates hill. It was built there. So then Mithridates mountain was renamed into Hovhannes Aivazovsky's mountain. And Aivazovsky is choosing a very good place on a hill, so the museum is visible from all corners of the city. And it gives you a good perspective in understanding how the heights in the city or the hills in the city were used in order to make them landmarks. For us, it's probably Mother Nadaran and Mother Armenia statue. And there's also a gymnasium in Feodosia, which is used as a high point. So Hovhannes Aivazovsky also organized some archaeological expeditions and excavations. He found Etruscan vases, three heads of Pan, and three heads of Medusa, which have been sent to Hermitage, and now they are located in St. Petersburg in Hermitage. This shows how globally he thinks and how he's able to properly allocate this cultural capital and how he acts. He also organized Janka Feodosia railway construction. Patriot painter has surveyed and served his homeland with his long-standing experience. So he's paying attention to many developments in the city. He organizes construction of a 28-kilometer long drinking water pipeline, which becomes an important landmark in the development of the city. And this is an interesting and well-known fountain, which was built in memory of Alexander III. But it was suggested to actually name after Alexander III, but the emperor refuses that honor. And there is a small tray, silver made plate stating drink for the health of the emperor and his family. At the same time with Alexander III's fountain, the municipality started to build and other fountain to name it after Aivazovsky, but then they have named it the fountain of good genius. You can see that it is wife of Aivazovsky, Anna Burnasian Sarkisova. She owned a water resource which she donated to the city, 50,000 buckets of water to avoid any water supply problems. So the water goes into the bowl from her hand, and it shows that a precious thing is flowing into the container, showing that that is an important thing being done for the city. 2004, Good Genius Fountain. It was a reconstruction of the previous one because there were leakage of the water, and this is a new variant. And there is an inscription here to genius Aivazovsky and his disciples from grateful Theodosians. I told you that Mithridat Mount was renamed after Aivazovsky, and there is also a boulevard from Genovian bridge to the city, a beautiful boulevard named after Aivazovsky again. Aivazovsky also wanted to move port from Sevastopol to Feodosia because it was more convenient, specifically in the winter time. He started a big campaign, and there was a struggle between and tensions between people in Sevastopol and Feodosia. And Aivazovsky was trying to solve this issue, and he was victorious. And this is well presented on the painting, The Victory of Feodosia. We see the city of Feodosia is represented as a woman. So we have some coincidences with the presentation made by Victoria, with the text Victoria presented the police and the woman. And you see also the ravens. Those are Sevastopol, people of Sevastopol who come, make some circles and go away. The victory is after Feodosia. So if we try to summarize and make some working conclusions, Aivazovsky creates own center, which is cultural and infrastructural because of the symbolic capital he has created, because of supranational values he created. The center is creation of the center is possible when you know the imperial memory, policy, and the rules of the game. If you don't know them, you cannot actually change the city, the landscape of the city, and the image, and create new infrastructure. Aivazovsky creates a new city, and the city in its turn generates symbolic capital, which is art. And Aivazovsky and Theodosia meeting of the two is very fruitful, and Aivazovsky, through his paintings, made Theodosia a well-known place, turned it into a brand. Thank you for your attention, and I will stop here. Thank you.